Now, joining us to explain more about last night's elections and what it means for Biden's agenda going forward, Senator Marco Rubio. Senator, I was intrigued by Senator Manchin's comments as he said, "I told you so," without saying it quite that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, for 364 days a year, these people who run all these major corporations and the media and a lot of government, all the far left people, they spend their time using their power to tell us what to think, what we're allowed to say, what we're allowed to do. But there's one day every year or every 2 years where the normal people get to speak, and that's called Election Day. And that's what you saw yesterday. It's parents who, during
I'm laughing, by the way, when normal people get to speak, not the elected officials and not the people on TV and radio, right? I agree with you.
Yeah, but that's the dividing line in politics today. The dividing line isn't even left or right anymore. It's crazy versus normal. It's these people that run our school systems and so forth, and parents who during the pandemic for the first time got to see what their kids were learning because they were learning from home, and they're like, "You're learning what? They're teaching you what?" And then when they spoke up, now they're domestic terrorists. And look, I watched with great interest all this coverage about white supremacists. In Virginia last night, as you pointed out, a Jamaican immigrant, African-American woman was elected the lieutenant governor of the state. A Cuban-American, Jason Miyares, was elected attorney general of the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia. None of that's being reported. These people are nuts. They spend all day on television and after they're off the air talking to everybody, and they all agree with each other because they all live in one or two cities, and they literally are completely out of touch with the fact that 97% of the American population lives completely different lives, has completely different views, and then when election day comes, they can't explain it, so they chalk it up to they cheated or white supremacist or whatever. They make something up because they can't comprehend it. Last night was the beginning of that pushback, and I think it's going to continue. And you ask about the agenda here, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. These people are governing like they have a mandate to radically remake the country. It's build back socialism. It doesn't matter if it's 1.75 trillion or 3.5 trillion. They want to take control of pre-K, of childcare, the only two elements of education they don't control now. They want to take control of that. They want to hire 80,000 IRS agents. So the pushback is only going to grow. And this administration, by the way, has been disastrous on everything, whether it's Afghanistan, now it's Russia threatening to invade Ukraine, Taiwan, supply chains. I mean, they can't name you a single thing that Joe Biden has managed correctly in his first 9 or 10 months as president. They can't name you one.
I gave my list of what I think needs the path that the country needs to follow. Conservative principles that work for Reagan, they work for President Trump, they work for Newt Gingrich in the contract with America. I would like 2022 to be a referendum election, and I want every Republican to put a signature on a paper that says they pledge to do those things if they get elected. That far-fetched idea, too gimmicky? What are your thoughts?
No, and by the way, we were doing a lot of those things when Donald Trump was in the White House. And then these guys have come in and they've basically tried to reverse everything. Even the things that made sense, they reversed it. They stopped the border wall, which is popular. Everybody understands we need to have something like that in this country. And we now have tons of steel and brick wall components sitting there rotting, stuff already been paid for by the American taxpayer. They have this deranged obsession against putting the wall up. You talk about returning manufacturing. You know, if we made more things in America, we wouldn't have a supply chain crisis, or at least as serious as the one that we have right now. So some of those things were already happening. These guys get in, they take control of the House, the Senate, the White House, and they begin to reverse all the things that make sense. And today we're a country that isn't producing energy domestically, but is begging all these other countries around the world to produce more oil, even while we don't produce our own. I mean, this is crazy. If I had described this to anybody 2 years ago, they would have said, that's never going to happen. I mean, the other guys aren't that crazy. Yes, they are.
Yeah. No, they really are that crazy. I mean, but the sad part is the damage that they're doing is also real. Senator, 1 year from now, you will be up for re-election. And when you look at the Senate map, and it will be one bellwether state for Republicans after another, and that's an important race we'll be following and supporting your candidacy down in Florida. Thanks for being with us. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.